What's up, guys? In this video we are going to talk about how to get over a cold quickly. Okay, I'm not sure if you can hear by my voice. I'm a little bit congested. I do have a cold. However, I am getting over it quickly, so I would say in probably a day or two it will be gone. I'm going to tell you guys how to do the exact same thing, so if you want to see that, it is coming up right now. Now, before we get into that, you'll notice I am wearing this totally awesome silk tie, silk shirt. Can't see my pants, but I've got some silk pants on as well. This is by Legendary Suit Jamas, so if you want to check them out, you can check them out. LegendarySuitJamas.com, link in the description. I will be getting a coupon code in a couple days, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Now, let's talk about how to get over a cold quickly. Okay, now, a lot of people are under the impression that in order to get over a cold quickly, like what does the mainstream media tell you? What does the medical profession tell you? They say get lots of rest, drink lots of liquids. Like what the fuck, you know? Like liquids are gonna make you get over a cold. Like what kind of dumb shit is that? And get some sleep. Like come on. And okay, fine. Let's say, you know, why am I talking shit about that method? Because I'm sure, I know for a fact that that is exactly probably what you guys do. Exactly probably. And you don't stay sick for 3 days and then you're over it. You're sick for like 2 weeks or for 3 weeks. And, you know, I know people in my life who may or may not be watching these videos who have told me things like, oh, I've been fighting this cold for the past 3 weeks. I just can't shake this cold. Oh, you know, got this bug and it's just not leaving, right? As if it's this like external circumstance that you have no control over. It's the bug. It's not me, it's the bug. It's total nonsense. Okay, you can get over a cold in a few days, and I'm gonna tell you how right now. Shit. Okay, so I actually discovered this when I was in the army, all right? I was in the Israeli army for a few years, long time ago. Long story, but we'll talk about that some other time. Now, I was in the army, and I forgot what I did. It was kind of towards the end of my service, and anybody who's been in the military for, you know, at all will tell you that kind of towards the end of your service, you start to like, you're not as disciplined as you were in the beginning. You've been in for a long time, you know, the romance has faded, and you're just kind of like over it. You're like, you know, just fuck it, essentially. And I was kind of going through that, and I forgot what I did, but I did something that got me in trouble with, you know, the commanders or whatever. And my punishment, like in the Israeli army, when you do something bad, like really bad, and you require a punishment, sometimes they'll send you to jail. But if it's just a matter of like a little bit of disciplinary action, then what they'll do is they'll send you to somebody called the Rassar, which is like the top ranked enlisted guy in whatever your unit is. And this guy is basically the guy who is in charge of discipline on the base, right? He'll go around, like when he comes around, you better hope that your shoes are shined, you better hope that all the buttons on your shirt are closed, and you better hope that you're not missing anything. He can call you out in a second and say, you know, come over here, let me see you've got your, you know, emergency bandage, or where's your, you know, whatever piece of equipment that you're supposed to have at any certain time. So when you get in trouble with, you know, in a really like important way, you go, you spend a little bit of time with him, depending on how bad the thing that you did was, and then, you know, when you're done, when you've served your time, you can leave. Okay, so the reason I'm kind of explaining all this is because what I did, I don't remember what it was, but I knew it was so bad that there's no way that I could get out of it. And the reason I'm even bringing up getting out of it is because I could tell right when I got the punishment that I was starting to get sick. Okay, and this wasn't like a little bit of the sniffles sick. This was like can't talk because your throat hurts, like can barely breathe without the phlegm like bubbling up in your chest, like really, really sick. Okay, so I knew I was in for some misery, especially because when you really fuck up in the army, they don't let you leave the base. I forget what it's called, but like they cancel your going home. So you have to stay. So not only was I gonna have to spend a lot of time with this like guy who's known for being an asshole and like working you to death, but I also had to stay on the base probably for a few weeks. So anyway, oh, and the best part is that this specific incident happened right before there was some big ceremony that was supposed to happen on the base. Now, our job, okay, me and like the other 5 or 6 people who had fucked up and, you know, needed to work it off, basically. Our job was to set up the entire ceremony. Okay, so we had to set up the tents. We had to, carry a bunch of, tables everywhere and boxes of shit everywhere. It was just a lot of work, okay? And it's from, 7 a.m. till like midnight, okay? It's a full day of work and you can't get out of it. Now, I was dying on my feet the entire time, but at this point, I can't be like, oh, actually, I'm sick. I can't do it. They're just going to tell you, fuck off. So I said, all right, I'm just going to do the work, keep my mouth shut. I mean, I couldn't really talk anyway. So I just shut my mouth and I did my work. And the work was like, they have these, I don't know what it's called. We call it a baznat in Hebrew, but it's like this big metal pole thing with a pointy end that sticks into the ground. And you take this massive pipe looking thing with two handles and you have to smash it into the ground so that it digs into the ground. We had maybe like 100 of those to set up. Maybe not 100, maybe like 50. Anyway, it was a lot of work. And the point of my story, which I really should have gotten to in the beginning, the point of my story is that by the time I was done, I mean, I was coughing up nasty green shit like all day. It was terrible. But by the time I was done, the next day I woke up in the morning, I wasn't sick anymore, okay? And I was working like super hard the entire day. So this kind of awakened me to the idea that maybe it's not a good idea to lie in bed and drink plenty of liquids when you're sick. Maybe that's stupid. Maybe that's a terrible idea. And ever since then, every time I've gotten sick, I've gone to the gym. I've made it a point to not necessarily work out harder, but to do my normal workout. And then when I go home, to go maybe for a long walk. I don't have any like big metal poles to like dig into the ground, but what can you do? Okay, now that's my theory, all right? Now this time when I'm sick, I've kept doing my workouts, which unfortunately are not that intense because I don't have a gym to go to here, but I'm still going to the park, I'm still doing my push-ups, I'm still doing my pull-ups, I'm still doing my sit-ups. I walk maybe like, 4 or 5 hours a day now at this point. I'll go like check out different little neighborhoods in Tokyo. And I'm noticing that I'm getting over the cold much faster and I feel much better, much faster. Whereas the other people who I'm living with, they look kind of miserable. Okay. And one more thing. Okay. So actually, yeah, the point is that, don't just lie in bed and think that that's going to do anything for you. Okay, yeah, it kind of sucks to like work out and train and do all that stuff when you're sick. You do feel kind of bad. And I would also say that if you are, from the neck up, I would say you're okay. From the neck down, maybe you should rest. Okay, like if you've got food poisoning, probably a good idea for you to not exercise. Okay, but if you've got the sniffles, if you've got a respiratory infection, if you've got a cold, go do your thing, I mean, and this is assuming that you guys are even exercising anyway. All right, so that's my tip. Oh, and one more thing, actually, before I end the video. I'm so out of it, as you can tell. Anyway, one more thing is that eat some garlic, raw garlic. Eat a couple cloves of garlic every day. Make sure you eat them with food. If you eat them on an empty stomach, they will fuck your stomach up. You will have a bad time. And cooking them, for some reason, doesn't give the same effect. Now, I'll just tell you really quickly how I discovered this, but when I was working in Pennsylvania, I was working in malls at this time, selling hair straighteners at kiosks. But anyway, when I was doing this job, I was very sick again one other time. And this was, after the army. I guess I didn't have the idea to go to the gym and work out, because selling hair straighteners in and of itself is a hard job that leaves you with very little energy to go exercise. So I was sitting around with my manager and his girlfriend, and they said, I was really sick. And they're like, why don't you just eat some garlic? And I was like, eat garlic? Like raw garlic? Never heard of that before. And they're like, yeah, bring some garlic out here. I'll do it too. And I was like, okay. So anyway, we all sat around eating raw garlic. I think actually because the manager's girlfriend was sick too. And instantly I felt better, like immediately. Like it just wakes you up. You get this crazy energy. And I'm not sure the science behind it. You guys know I don't really give a shit about science so much. However, I do know that garlic is an antiviral or antibacterial or antimicrobial. That's what it is. it's antimicrobial. So if you have some sort of issue in your gut, then, you know, eat some garlic and that will clear that shit up ASAP. Okay, so also what I've been doing since I've been sick now is I'll wait till dinner because I'm doing OMAD and I eat at night, and I'll have a couple bites of food first, and then what I'll do is I've been eating fish lately instead of raw meat. I'll have a couple bites of fish, and then I'll pop a clove of raw garlic in my mouth and I'll chew it with the fish also in my mouth so that the garlic doesn't burn that much, because eating raw garlic kind of burns. It's not a pleasant experience. Okay, so that is my prescription for not being sick and getting healthier faster. Okay, so tell me, do you guys have any tips for getting over a cold faster and not being sick for 2 weeks? Let me know in the comment section. Also, tell me what you think of my pimped out silk shirt. I know you can't really see it, but tell me what you think of from here to here, this part right here. Cool? Peace.